Elena Foster had never believed in the kind of love that could ruin you. She thought passion was just a word in books, something overdramatic people wrote to sell stories. But that was before she met Daniel Hayes. He wasn't the type of man who walked into a room unnoticed. He carried himself with the quiet arrogance of someone who knew he could have everything and still never seemed to want anything. A man with sharp blue eyes, broad shoulders, and that rare kind of smile that could make women weak but rarely appeared. He was the storm that everyone was too afraid to chase. And Elena, against all reason, chased him anyway. Their story didn't start sweetly. It started with fire, the kind that burned through common sense. Daniel had leaned against her office door one evening after hours, watching her type furiously at her desk, lips pressed tight in focus. He didn't knock, didn't announce himself. He just stood there, his gaze heavy. "You work too hard, Foster," he had said. His voice was smooth, deep, carrying both warning and invitation. She looked up, irritation flashing. "And you don't work enough, Hayes." He smirked, stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The sound echoed in her chest. He moved closer, his shadow covering her desk, his eyes locked on hers. "Maybe I just like watching you work." The air shifted. Elena's throat went dry, her skin buzzing with awareness. She hated how her body betrayed her, how a single look from him could unravel everything she thought she knew about herself. From that night forward, they couldn't stop. It was never gentle. It was never careful. Their romance was heat and hunger, lips crashing, hands gripping, hearts racing like they were both on the edge of something dangerous. Every time they kissed, it felt like breaking a rule they couldn't come back from. And maybe that was what made it irresistible. She remembered one night in his apartment, the city glowing outside the window. He had her pinned against the glass, his breath hot against her neck, his hands tracing fire across her body. She whispered his name, a soft plea that made him groan like he was losing control. He told her she was driving him insane, that he couldn't think when she was near, that he wanted her in ways that scared him, and she felt the same. They weren't just making love, they were consuming each other. Every touch was a promise and a threat. Every kiss was both comfort and destruction. Elena found herself whispering things in the dark she never thought she'd say, words of need, of surrender, of fear that she couldn't live without him. And he answered with the same raw hunger, holding her as though she was the only thing keeping him alive. But passion that intense doesn't come without consequence. Daniel had secrets. She knew it from the beginning. Sometimes she would wake up in his arms in the middle of the night and catch him staring into the dark, his jaw tight, his eyes carrying shadows he never explained. She asked once, softly, what he was thinking. He kissed her instead of answering. She thought love would be enough to drown those shadows. She was wrong. The first crack came when she found the letter. It was shoved inside one of his drawers, words scrawled in anger. It was from his brother, a man she never knew existed. The words were cruel, accusing Daniel of betrayal, of destroying their family. She read it with her chest tightening, realizing she didn't know the man. She had given her body and heart to as much as she believed. When she confronted him, Daniel didn't deny it. His eyes turned hard, his voice sharp. "I told you I wasn't clean, Elena. I told you from the start my hands weren't the kind you hold on to forever." She tried to argue, tears stinging her eyes. "You don't get to decide what I can or can't hold." But he only shook his head, a muscle twitching in his jaw. "You deserve better than me." That night, he kissed her like it was the last time. His lips desperate, his hands trembling as they clutched her closer, as if he wanted to memorize every curve of her body, every sound she made. Elena didn't stop him. She clung to him just as desperately, her tears mixing with the heat of their passion. Every kiss was a goodbye they weren't ready to say. Every touch was a plea for more time. The city outside didn't matter. The past didn't matter. For those hours, there was only them. She whispered, "I love you," against his chest, and for the first time, he whispered it back, his voice breaking. But morning came, and with it, silence. She woke up to find him gone, his side of the bed cold, his scent fading from the sheets. On the nightstand lay a single note. Asterisk, "Don't look for me. I love you too much to let you drown with me." Asterisk. Her heart cracked open. She wanted to scream, to tear the paper apart, to chase him down and make him see that she didn't care about his broken past, his shadows, his scars. But deep inside, she knew he wouldn't let her. Daniel Hayes was the kind of man who loved like fire, bright, consuming, unforgettable, but fire always burns out. Months passed. She tried to move on. She tried to date, to laugh, to pretend. But every time she closed her eyes, she felt his hands on her, his lips against her skin, his voice whispering her name in the dark. He had ruined her in the most beautiful way. One rainy evening, walking home, Elena passed by the cafe they used to meet at. Through the window, she swore she saw him sitting alone, staring out at the street. Her breath caught. For one heartbeat, their eyes almost met. But when she blinked, the chair was empty. Maybe it was her mind. Maybe it was him. She pressed her hand against the glass, tears sliding down her face. The city lights blurred. She whispered his name once more, a prayer into the night. Daniel was gone. Their story was over. But the love lived on, burning quietly inside her, a fire she could never put out.